Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before the meeting starts, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Jackie Wetherill and I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the City of Greater Dandenong. And it's my pleasure tonight, just for tonight's meeting, to outline the governance rules for you. Council meetings, making them a safe place for everyone. During the council meeting, members of the public cannot address the meeting outside of public question time, must not interject or act offensively, must remain seated, must switch your mobile phones to mute, must not operate any recording device, audio or visual, without obtaining the consent of the Chief Executive Officer at least 3 days prior to the council meeting, and can display placards or posters, provided they're not offensive, do not obstruct entrances and exits to the chamber or impede any view or person. The Chair can direct any member of the public to stop interjecting or acting offensively. If that behaviour continues, the Chair can ask an authorised officer or a member of Victoria Police to remove the members of the public from the chamber. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Wetherill. Item 1, meeting opening. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting, 25th of August 2025. Item 1.2, attendance. Are there any apologies, Ms Wetherill?
Yes, Mr Mayor, we do have a couple of apologies this evening. We've got Councillor Lloyd Trong, Councillor Lana Formoso, Councillor Isabella Doe and Councillor Bob Milkovich, who's on a leave of absence.
Thank you, Ms Wetherill. Item 1.3, acknowledgement of traditional custodians of land. Those who wish to stand for the acknowledgement to country are welcome to do so. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Bunurong people, and pay respect to their elders, past and present. We recognise and respect their continuing connections to climate, culture, country and waters. And we also pay our respect and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and their elders present here today in acknowledging their journey. Item 1.4, offering of prayer, reflection or affirmation. As part of Council's commitment to recognising the cultural and spiritual diversity of our community, the prayer, reflection or affirmation this evening was presented and forwarded to Council by Miss Ursula Aruma, a member of the Greater Dandenong Interfaith Network, who Councillor Dan will read out tonight.
Lord Mayor, councillors, distinguished guests, respected and revered elders, this is the prayer from Sathya Sai Organisation of Australia and PNG, taken from Thought for the Day, 17th February 2011. Do not develop opposition or differences amongst yourselves. Controversies give rise to many troubles. Even if somebody makes you angry, do not fight with him or her. Understand that by fighting with others, you actually harm yourself. Control your thoughts. Along with education, acquire Educare. Educare recognises that unity in multiplicity is the ultimate goal of education, resulting in a world which is a better place to live in, for people today and for future generations. It will give you everything you need: health, happiness, peace and prosperity. Everything will become good if you make your heart pure. From today onwards, yearn and take to the right path. You must strive for unity in all matters. Sairam.
Thank you, Councillor Dan. Item 1.5, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. Meeting of Council held on the 11th of August 2025. Moved by Councillor Garrett, second by Deputy Mayor Tan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. 1.6, disclosures of interest. Ms Wetherill.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I haven't been advised of any disclosures of interest for this evening.
Thank you, Ms Wetherill. Item 2, Officers' Reports, Part 1. 2.1, Petitions and Joint Letters. 2.1.1, Petitions and Joint Letters. Moved by Deputy Mayor Tan. Second by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Item 2.2, Statutory Planning Applications. 2.2.1, Town Planning Applications, number 11, Joffrey Street, Noble Park. Planning Application PLN 24/0380. Moved by Councillor Dan.
Happy to
second
second
by
it.
Deputy Mayor Tan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried.
Mayor.
Councillor O'Reilly.
Thanks, Mayor. I know there were a number of objections to this application, but just to explain the decision by Council that unless we've got planning reasons for opposing these applications, then we know from past practice and experience that our opposition will not stand up when it gets through to the Victorian government body, that being VCAT, and that is the reason why you'll see that Council will approve most planning applications when there is not a substantial planning reason to oppose it. By way of explanation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Move on to the next item, councillors. 2.2.2, planning delegated decisions issued in July 2025. Moved by Deputy Mayor Tan, second by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Item 3, public question time. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And our first question this evening is from Brad Woodford of Noble Park. So, Mr Woodford, if you would like to come up to the microphone, please, and you will see, you'll just need to turn it on, and if you would like to ask your question to the councillors.
Hi, Brad. Welcome.
Thank you, councillors and council officers. So my question is, over a period of months, I've brought to council's attention multiple times the issue of a homeless individual who is obviously collecting and hoarding rubbish at their chosen sleeping spot in Springvale. This is in Springvale, just on the outer fringe of the Springvale business precinct, and there is a number of restaurants in this immediate vicinity. My latest report via SnapSend Solved was submitted on August 18th, I should say. Often the mess is being cleaned up only for the individual to be back at it mere couple of days later, and the cycle begins again. While I acknowledge that the individual likely has substance abuse and mental health issues, there has to come a point where the broader community health and safety takes priority over the rights of one individual. Does council have a strategy or any actions in place to seek a long-term permanent solution to this issue rather than simply allowing the problem to repeat over and over and over again? There is no way the individual's actions is not having a detrimental effect on the surrounding residents and small businesses. Thank you.
Ms Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Brad, for your question, and also for the time that you've taken to report the issue a number of times to council. We appreciate that. As you've sort of acknowledged, it is a really complex and distressing situation for everybody involved, including the community. Council is committed to managing these situations by balancing community expectations, but also social responsibility in terms of the rights of the individual, as you mentioned. As part of our Dandenong Zero partnership with Launch Housing, we are working towards a resolution that is sustainable and long-term rather than, again, as you'd mentioned, the short-term approach that it sometimes plays out initially. We're also actively undertaking regular cleansing activities at this location, again, fully acknowledging what you shared, that we clean up and then the issue arises again, but I can assure you that we'll continue to do that while we work through the process with our partners around ensuring appropriate supports are in place. I would encourage yourself and any other members of the community, if at any time you feel unsafe, certainly call Victoria Police, who can intervene quickly, and we'll continue to monitor the situation and work proactively to see if we can come to a suitable resolution for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Gillies. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Our next question is from Prisha Singh of Dandenong, and it concerns Keneally Dog Park in Dandenong. Upon using the Keneally Dog Park, I have noticed a shortage of seating for users. The dog park only has one seat bench and one picnic table for the whole dog park facility. These two seating areas are currently not enough for users, and most times I attend this park, there's no free seating. Can council please look at installing more seating for the increased needs at this dog park?
Mr Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for your question, Prisha. Council officers have recently reviewed the operation of this area and due to its success and high utilization rates, 2 additional seatings will be installed in the park within the next month.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
And Prisha Singh has another question as well about Keneally Street Reserve in Dandenong. Keneally Reserve has a dog park, picnic facilities, barbecues and a large children's play area which have become very popular areas for residents. With all these facilities but no public toilets, this area is in desperate need of public toilets. Can Council please investigate the installation and costing of installing this desperately needed facility in central Dandenong? The second question, Keneally Reserve has no lighting at its picnic area or dog park, making these facilities unsafe. Can Council please investigate installation and provide a costing of installing lighting at these facilities?
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Keneally Reserve is designated as a local park as per the open space strategy. While it's acknowledged that it would be great to be able to provide toilets and lighting for all parks, local parks are not generally provided with these facilities due to the number of these parks across the municipality and the cost associated with these facilities. Public toilets and lighting are generally only provided at a larger council parks such as district parks. As such, Council is not currently able to provide toilets and lighting at Keneally Reserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And our next question is from Theo Marrick of Dandenong and concerns the Dandenong Thunder Soccer Club. There have been multiple articles written about alleged drug use, criminal activity and violent situations may have happened at the Dandenong Council-owned facility of the Thunder Soccer Club. After Council has learned about these alleged accusations at a Council-owned facility, what measures have they actively implemented to ensure residents and children that use this facility are safe?
Ms. Gillies.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you, Theo, for your question. I would like to clarify that to our knowledge it has not been alleged that the activities referred to have taken place at the club rooms or on council-owned premises. Throughout 2025, Council has engaged with the club, Football Victoria and Victoria Police to seek assurances that the club's facilities hire agreement has been complied with, which we have received. We have no reason at this time to believe the club is not complying with the conditions of their current agreement. We will continue to monitor compliance with the facility hire agreement for this and all clubs, and any concerned member of the community with information about criminal activity should report it to Victoria Police. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Gillies. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Our next question is from Philip Lamaro of Dandenong and concerns bollard installation at Dandenong. Multiple vehicles have been spotted illegally driving and four-wheel driving along the Dandenong Creek around the Woodcock and Keneally Parklands. Council's aware of this and has installed bollards around the Allen Street Bridge in the Keneally Reserve Parkland, but the Woodcock Parkland section along Webster Street has no bollards. So now vehicles are using this section to access the Parkland and Creek, which is still causing a risk of people's safety. Can Council please install bollards in this section like all other areas to ensure residents' safety?
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Yep, through you, Mayor. Any illegal use of these trails and parkland should be reported to the police. We anticipate that the use of these areas of open space will also alter following the Webster Street level crossing removal, and plan to monitor after this, and then we'll assess the necessary for the bollards after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And we have another question from Philip Lamaro on flag requests. I formally submitted a community flag request to Council on raising the Pride flag at Dandenong and Springvale for Pride Month. This was submitted and stamped by Council, but in over the last 3 months, I've had no response from Council. This is in direct breach of Council's flag policy, has indicated Council's lack of support for the LGBTIQA+ community. Can Council please clarify why this formal request was ignored by Council and its own policy and procedures were not followed as per the Council-endorsed flag policy?
Ms. Sajari.
To you, Mayor, and thank you, Philip, for your question. Council strongly supports the LGBTIQA+ community and continues to adhere to Council's inclusive statement, which was adopted by Council on 9th of December 2019. Council confirms no breach of flag flying policy occurred. The progress flag was flown in Harmony Square from 4th of June this year for the remainder of the month, with just a short delay to Reconciliation Week and staff availability. The Pride flag was also flown at Multicultural Place from 5th of June to 1st of July, despite the application for that particular place really didn't meet all the requirements that we had. For instance, usually the flag should be provided by the committee. It wasn't, and also it was a late submission. However, the flag was flown at Multicultural Place. Council waived these conditions and confirmed again strong ongoing support for LGBTIQA+ communities.
Thank you, Mr. Jari. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you. Our next question was from Scott Peters of Dandenong. 2 questions have been raised about parking on Canberra Avenue, and as these were asked at a council meeting approximately 6 weeks ago, therefore they won't be read out again. However, we will include them in the responses provided to the public and in the minutes of the meeting. And that concludes our questions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Weatherall. Item 4, Officers' Reports, Part 2, 4.1, Other, 4.1.1, Community Hubs Advisory Committee, Terms of Reference. Moved by Councillor Garrard.
Councillor
Seconded by
O'Reilly.
Councillor O'Reilly. Are there any questions?
Do you have a question,
Deputy
Mayor?
Mayor Tan.
Thank you, through you, Mayor, through the relevant officer. I just want to find out how many committees members will be joined on this Kisbra Hub.
Mr. Jari. Oh, Ms. Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Tan, for your question. What's proposed in the report is that we actually move away from a formal advisory group structure and to a more informal reference group, which will mean that there's no limit on numbers. It will be based on particular topics and themes that the community would like to discuss in terms of activating the hubs, and anyone interested would be more than welcome to come along and discuss it. So less formal than the terms of reference have been previously.
Thank you, Ms. Gillies. Any further questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate the council and the officer who's been working on this. I think the shift to an open community-led model is a welcome improvement. And by removing formal appointment processes and allowing anyone through a simple registration process reduces a lot of barriers to, particularly in a multicultural community. I think this is a step towards a more representative and responsive governance structure and a much more grassroots-led structure. So I just wish to acknowledge.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Councillors, we'll move on to the next item, 4.1.2, Audit and Risk Committee Biannual Activity Report. Moved by Councillor Garrard, second by Councillor Yim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Item 4.1.3, Reports on matters discussed at councillor briefing sessions and pre-council meetings. Moved by Deputy Mayor Tan, second by Councillor Yim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Item 4.1.4, List of registered correspondence to Mayor and Councillors. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Deputy Mayor Tan. Are there any questions? Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Regarding a letter sent to the Mayor from the Australian Friends of Palestine Association requesting mayors not to attend the Australian Mayoral Summit against anti-Semitism, which the Australian Jewish Council has come out today, actually praising Dandenong councillors and the City of Dandenong councillors for not attending and for boycotting this summit, which is a overseas sponsored summit by individuals that are really are pushing a very extreme right-wing platform. what was the response of the council to the Friends of Palestine's letter?
Ms. Sajari?
To you, Mayor, I can take it on notice and get back to you if it's okay, Councillor Gara.
Thank you, Ms. Sajari. Any further questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Item 5, Notice of Motion 5.1, Notice of Motion number 10, Withdrawal from Altered Electronic Gambling Machines Pre-Commitment Trial. Moved by Councillor Garrard. Second by Councillor O'Reilly. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition?
Opposing.
Councillor Darn in opposition. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. This notice of motion is an important one. The City of Greater Dandenong has been a leader in gambling reform for over a decade, largely due to Hayden Brown, one of the officers of the City of Greater Dandenong, who has undertaken a great deal of data mining on the issue of gambling in our municipality. We have one of the highest losses. The gamblers in Dandenong lose on average 8 times more per person than in wealthier LGAs. The predatory gambling industry takes about 130 million out of our community every year. That's out of the mouths of children, that is away from families, that is money. Most of the 3/4 of that loss is by serious gamblers, and that is money they can ill afford to lose. What was put up by the state government was initially to include a mandatory pre-commitment component. This is the main intervention that will make a difference to the losses within our community. One Canadian study showed that with this mandatory pre-commitment component, that gamblers lost half of what they would normally lose. So their losses were halved, which is a significant improvement in terms of the impact on the individuals and on the community. Another study showed that over 70% in Australia lose more money than they wanted to lose on the pokies. And that's all because the pokies are designed, there's been millions of dollars spent making sure that when the individual sits in front of that machine, the individual loses touch with reality and, as they say in the industry, is put into a trance. Once that person is in the trance, it's very difficult for them to make decisions about when to walk away. What pre-commitment mandatory interventions do is allow that person to decide before they start gambling the amount of money they are happy to lose within a 24-hour period. The expectation of this trial was always that it was going to have this component. And this was from when 2 years ago, Dan Andrews announced that this would be introduced, and the expectation was always that this would be a component. And that was right up until the day after the first media release, which suddenly announced it was optional. And we know from all of the studies that when it is optional, it is pointless. And so the only way we can really protect our community, the only way we can protect families, the only way we can make sure kids are not going without food and have a stable place to live and are not severely impacted by gambling is to introduce the mandatory pre-commitment. Were we to stay in this trial, we are actually sending a message to the state government that we are okay with them not using interventions that have been proven to work. We are saying we are okay with the frippery and the ineffective interventions you are putting in, and we are okay with our community continuingly to be exposed to harm. We are not okay with that. And that is why we have to send a strong message that we are not on board with this. It's my understanding that the City of Monash is also tomorrow night to consider a similar withdrawal, and the Alliance, the Gambling Reform Alliance, have already withdrawn their support, with Tim Costello, Reverend Costello, saying, we don't even feel we know what we are actually trialling and why.
30 seconds.
Is that 1 minute?
30 seconds, but you can ask for an extension if you like.
No, it's okay. So there is the withdrawal from this trial is appropriate, and it is in the interests of our community.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Councillor O'Reilly.
Thank you, Mayor. Following on from Councillor Garrard, who absolutely explained the impact of gambling on our community in particular. Mayor, there appears to have been a late change to this trial to enable gamblers to continue to gamble beyond their limit. And there was no reason, or no proper reason given as to why this change was made, although I did read somewhere, I was trying to find it, something about keeping industry partners on board, or something along those lines, Mayor. It's our local community, and we often say proudly that we are the most multicultural municipality, which we are, and which we are very proud. But unfortunately, we also stand out as a municipality in Victoria with the lowest incomes and highest gambling losses. And it would be a disservice to our local residents and families impacted by gambling, the family budgets, family violence. It would be a grave disservice to be seen to be supporting a trial that enables gamblers to bet beyond their limit. It's a clear choice, and it was a clear change that was made, Mayor. And if anybody says in debate this wasn't important, this factor, then the question is, why was the change made at the last minute? It is extremely important to enforce the mandatory limits that people set for themselves. There's no plan from the government on what happens after the trial. We don't need to test the cards. They've been in operation for years. We need to test enforced mandatory limits. That was the key point. That was the meat in the sandwich that has now been taken out. So, as Councillor Garrard said, do we condone this, or do we send a signal that our residents are too important and the impact on them is too important to condone this sort of trial? So, councillors, do you condone gamblers being enabled to gamble beyond their limit? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. In opposition, Councillor Dunn.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I just want to start by saying that this isn't a disagreement of the analysis that's just been provided. My disagreement with this motion is not on that basis. I want everyone to consider what would be the practical outcomes if we go ahead with this item. What will we actually achieve with this? At present, it currently appears that the trial will be going ahead regardless of what we decide tonight. This trial will commence in September. That's in 1 week. That's next Monday. I believe that by supporting this motion, we greatly diminish our ability to influence the outcomes of this trial and to really push for the reforms that we really want. We limit our ability to advocate for improvements, and we miss out on a seat at the table where the actual decisions are made. This trial is not perfect by any means, but our disagreements are precisely the issues that we can raise from being a part of the process. If we disengage, we surrender that ability entirely to shape the outcomes. Now, there's been some confusion in what this trial is actually about. So just to clarify, this trial has two key parts to it. The first, it's the use of Your Pay cards itself that is mandatory. And the second, as we understand, is the ability to set limits on losses on a voluntary basis. I want to point everyone to Council's statement that was released on Friday, the 25th of July this year, which explicitly says patrons at select venues will have to use a Your Play card to play electronic gaming machines and can set limits. Can set limits. This was published a month ago on the 25th of July. Now, if you go down that statement, the Deputy Mayor was quoted in that statement and outlined that Council's position was that any initiative to reduce gambling harm within our community is a welcome step. Going down a little bit further, it also says, we remain dedicated to supporting all initiatives aimed at its prevention. We look forward to seeing the results of this trial. That was exactly 1 month ago. Now, since then, there's been 2 council meetings. One on the 28th of July and another one on the 11th of August. That's 2 meetings. Both meetings, I might add, that the mover of this motion was also present at. This is now the 3rd meeting since that statement was released. Given the great weight and importance that this issue holds, why has this only been brought up now, 1 week out from the commencement of the trial? We are a local council. We cannot mandate for set limits to be mandatory. It's not that we don't want to, but it's that we can't. That is the reality of local government. Any opportunity that we have to be part of the process for reform, we have to take. We have to be strategic. Look, I acknowledge and respect the intent of this motion, but we have to take the world as we find it, and we have to find the opportunities where possible to make sure our voices are heard. This motion does not do that. Being in the tent means we can help shape the future of gambling reform. It means council and alongside with the Alliance for Gambling Reform can work more effectively together to advocate to the state government to deliver results that really minimise harm in our communities. Can I request an extension, please?
Happy
Moved
to
by
move.
Tan for a 2-minute extension. Do I have a seconder? Councillor there. Is there any opposition? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. It means that we can ensure that the voices of our residents, especially those most affected by gambling harm, can be heard and respected. The motion at its core comes down to this question. Do we want to be a part of the change, or will we be spectators? All the concerns raised tonight can still be raised while we work through to push for further reform. And while this motion, I believe, is well intended, I will be opposing it because as a local council, we have to be present to where the conversation is and we have to be a part of that process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Any further speakers? Deputy Mayor Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. I rise to speak against this motion. Also, just from Councillor Dunn spoke about, so the trial is going to go ahead, whether we're going to oppose it or not, but we'll be starting the 1st of September. We'll be involving 43 venues so across Monash, Greater Dandenong and Ballarat. So the trial is about the 1st of September, it's more about communication. Second trial from the 1st of October, like Councillor Dunn was saying, it's about introducing Your Play card. So I just want to give you some understanding why we should be part of this. Firstly, it's a harm reduction potential. So the trials introduced the base, it will be mandatory Your Play card after the trial period as well. So allowing the gamblers to set a limit if they wanted to, the loss limit. So this system is designed to give the player more control over the gambling habits and also to reduce harm and also to prevent money laundering. So that's the first point. Second, this is about the trial collecting data collection for reform. So at the end of the trial provides an opportunity to gather real-world data on how players interact with the pre-commitments tool, which could inform future statewide gambling reforms. The main part about this trial starting September 1st is about community awareness and engagement. Participation signals the council commitments to addressing gambling gambling harm, it is aligned with our Greater Dandenong alongside with our advocacy for reform, especially given that it's a high gambling loss in our city of Greater Dandenong so far. It's past 141 million on the electronic gambling machines. So mainly to support the venue staff. These 43 venue staff is a trial for them to include training and support for the venue staff, helping them assist with the patrons and manage the transition of the card play. That will be involved with 17 different languages. As we know, it's a city of the most multicultural city in Australia. We have more than 154 different nations. So it's great to be part of something that will give information, education to our patrons, our community. And lastly, it's about public health reform framing. So it's a framing gambling as part of a public health issue. So not just personal responsibility, which can help reduce stigma and promote a broader community support for the reform in the future. That's why I'm opposing the notice of motion. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Tan. Any further speakers? There's no further speakers. Right reply, Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I want to point out that by withdrawing from this trial, we are very much in the conversation. If you refer to point 4, we will continue working with the Alliance for Gambling Reform, who will continue to urge the government to reinstate a mandatory pre-commitment trial with independent evaluation and a clear statewide rollout plan. We currently have no timeframes or any timeframes going forward for when the trial may commence. This is a harm reduction trial where the harm reduction component has been taken out. That is what has happened. Nothing that is left in this trial will in any way reduce harm. The Your Play cards have been used since 2015 for 10 years. We do not need to trial cards that have been used for 10 years and shown not to work. When you have an opt-in system, less than 10% of people put in a limit, and those people, when that limit comes up, are able to override that. The machines allow them to continue to play, and the vast majority of them will. Nothing about this trial will help our community. Nothing about this will help the gamblers that end up with such enormous financial burdens that it often leads to suicide. It leads to family breakdown. It leads to children having to be placed elsewhere. That's the reality of it. That is what is happening in our community, and not to support this means that is what you support. There is $3 billion a year handed over to the gambling industry, the predatory gambling industry, and half of that is kept by the state government in taxes. The other goes to the predatory industry. That is money that should stay with the people in the city of Greater Dandenong. There is nothing in this trial that reduces harm. To stay in this trial, we are complicit, and we are saying that we will go ahead with the artifice of pretending to help our community when we are not helping them at all. We are helping the gambling industry because they are the ones that took it out. So whose side are you on? Are you on the side of the mothers and the children that suffer, of the domestic violence that is made worse, of the young men that commit suicide? Or are you on the side of the gambling industry? That's your choice. That's the choice you have before you right now.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. All those councillors in favour of the notice of motion, please raise your hand. Councillor Garrard, Councillor O'Reilly. All those against, Councillor Dunn, Deputy Mayor Tan, Mayor Mehmeti and Councillor Lair. The item is carried 4-2 with an abstention from Councillor Yim. Lost. Lost. Sorry, I apologise. The motion has lost. We'll move on to item 6, reports from councillors, delegated members and councillor questions. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to note that the reuse recycle drop-off day occurred again this past weekend, which is a great initiative, and I look forward to seeing the next one on the 15th of November. Just wanted to note as well that there is a bit of an increase again in illegally dumped rubbish around the neighbourhoods in my ward, and I just wanted to pass the message on just so that, because I'm aware that there are trucks from the hotspot program that continually monitors this, but just to keep an eye out for further dumping. And I just wanted to talk quickly about the Association of Ukrainians in Noble Park. I attended their function on Saturday night, celebrating the 34th anniversary of Ukrainian independence. While it can feel like a bit of a strange time to be celebrating, given that many people in independence still have friends and family still in Ukraine who are going through atrocities every day, I think it was a really important reminder that these are the sorts of freedoms that we do fight for, and that our culture and our heritage is extremely important, and the ability to celebrate something like that should never be taken for granted. I will also had the opportunity to see the new refurbished hall as well. They previously had issues such as a leaked roof, really run-down toilets, a really run-down kitchen. I mean, it was really nice to see that that's all been renovated over the past month now. But I just wanted to congratulate again the Ukrainian community on celebrating the anniversary of their nation of heritage's independence, and my thoughts continue to remain with their friends and family as the struggle for freedom and independence continues. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Councillor Garrett? Councillor Yim? Councillor Yim?
Thank you, Mayor. On Saturday the 16th, I attended the Dandenong Wetlands Community Planting Day. I think we planted over 280 trees or grasses. Saturday the 23rd, I also attended the 34th anniversary of Ukraine's Independence Day, hosted by the Association of the Ukrainians in Noble Park, attending with Councillor Philip Dan and MP Lee Talamis. There were beautiful traditional dances from the local children and singers who once were refugees. I also, on that same night, attended a joint celebration of the 76th anniversary of the founding of People's Republic of China and the 54th anniversary of the Australia-China diplomatic relations with Deputy Mayor Sophie Tan. Yesterday, on the 24th of August, I attended the Dandenong Fancy Pigeon Society 50th anniversary annual show. I was absolutely delighted to have discovered that there was such a fancy pigeon society in the first place. There were pigeons of many different shapes and sizes that I did not expect. It definitely broadened my idea of what a pigeon is and can be. One of the more interesting varieties was a breed of pigeon called the Poodle or Cropper that has like a large or round inflatable crop just like around its neck, which kind of gives it like a balloon-like shape just around its chest. My favourite was the fantail pigeon, which, like its name suggests, gives it like a fantail just in the back. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Yim. Deputy Mayor Tan.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome back. I've been very busy since the last council meeting. I'll start with my report. On the 17th of August, I attended the Onam Festival, hosted by the Kerala Hindu Society Melbourne with Councillor Alice Fongley. This joyous occasion symbolizes harmony, unity, diversity, and communal goodwill. It's unique to share the riches of Kerala heritage and values and broader community. So these annual events showcase traditional music, dance, and people from all different backgrounds come together and celebrate in one big community. On the 20th of August, I attended the network, Interfaith Network, City of Greater Dandenong, and the City of Greater Dandenong annual signing common statement. So this is a remarkable milestone, Mayor, for our community's journey for 37 years of unity, commitment to peace, harmony, and understanding. I would also like to present you the candle from the Interfaith Network as well. Thank you. So in the evening, I attended, it was my honor to formally witness 300 newest citizens declarations. So it was a great citizenship ceremony. On the 21st of August, I attended the GSEM board meeting, discussed about GSEM manufacturing focus, communication and advocacy report, and state and federal elections planning for the future. So our current key stat on GSEMs at the moment, based on the Deloitte data research, GSEM is the home to Australia's largest manufacturing workforce, both by size and regional employment, which is 75,000 employees. They've got 89 billions in output since 2024, which is on 1 year, and 3,800 employing business. So it's huge manufacturing company. So our top advocacy issue that will be focused on for our state elections coming up, mainly 1, transport infrastructure, 2, public transport and bus services, 3, community safety, 4, community infrastructure, 5, community services, and 6, industrial. On the 23rd of August, I attended the 106th anniversary of the Afghanistan's Independence Day with Councillor Alice Fongley. It was hosted by the Afghan Youth Association of Victoria. So it was a day that held a deep meaning for many Afghans around the world. I think around 1,000 people attended that that evening. It's a great event. And on the 24th of August, it was my great pleasure to attend the Tamaduni Gala Night, so hosted by the Kenya Community of Victoria. So this year's theme is about echoes of the past and voices of the future. So Tamaduni is about the Kenyan cultures, music, singing, dancing, and traditions. So I just want to congratulate to the organizer. It was a fun night, dancing night. In the evening, on the same date, it was my honor to attend the 76th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republics of China, the 53rd anniversary of diplomatic relations between Australia and China, and the 5th anniversary of celebration of the Australia-China Commerce and Industry Alliance with Councillor Melinda Yim as well. So I just want to congratulate all the organiser. This was the significant occasion for them, and thanks for their ongoing contribution to the vibrant multicultural community. And Mayor, I've got a question through the relevant officer. So just regarding question from one of the residents, it's not in my ward, but just regarding a complaint on dump rubbish, this is ongoing. So this is on the along Lightwood, Buckingham Avenue toward Queen's Avenue, so mainly on the sides or back of the grocery store and the restaurant. So dump rubbish usually cleared, but it's ongoing. Could we get maybe put like a hotspot there for our council staff to, it's just ongoing. And there's also a homeless person there as well. I know I did report that previously, but if we can get our staff to at least assist with that, that'd be great. Thanks.
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor, yeah, definitely. Dumping is challenging for us. Our hotspots program run 5 days a week. Our 2 trucks runs entire municipality to search for those dump rubbishes, but still we miss some of them. But definitely those areas, I'll get the staff to have a look at, monitor, and see we can look at what's the long-term solutions we can find. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Deputy Mayor Tan.
That's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor O'Reilly.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, look, myself, along with other councillors, are getting increased reports of dumped rubbish. So, I mean, we can deal with them one by one. But if I could request the director, if that in coming up to sort of forthcoming budget meetings, if we could, as a councillor group, get an estimate on what it would cost to potentially increase the hotspot. program, which is successful for the hotspots. But unfortunately, sometimes the whole municipality seems like it's a hotspot, Mayor. So I understand, unless we had CCTV on every street corner, unless we had that, then if we did have that, we could catch everybody. But there's always places it's just virtually impossible to catch every incidence of dumped rubbish. As a council, we do our best. But as far as resources, I just would like some forthcoming analysis in due course on what the trends are, and potentially how we better meet expectations of the community in dealing with it. It's almost an impossible problem to solve, but if we can do anything better, then certainly open to ideas, Mayor. So another and as part, sort of alongside that, I don't know if other councillors have heard too, like more nitrous oxide canisters, like being dumped, and that seems to be like just something that's come about in the last couple of years, which is that laughing gas stuff. And if we could get some analysis on what's happening in that area as far as the nitrous oxide canisters. Again, it's easy to talk about problems, Mayor, but it's harder to fix them. And also, just FYI, there's regular reports of syringes at the stairwell of the number 8 Balmoral multi-level car park. And I think I've explained enough problems in the last 3 minutes, so I'll stop there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Mr. Manivasagasavan.
Through you, Mayor, yes. Councillors, the Hotspots program started 8 years ago as a trial, and we are still continuing after that as well. So as part of our strategic waste management, what we are looking at is we are collecting a lot of data on what sort of materials we are collecting, where we are collecting, and looking at the trends as well. So through that process, we will have further discussion second half of this financial year to talk about what are the options, what's the future hold, and what's the different options we can use to minimize the dump rubbish and the rubbish issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavan. Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Councillor Lee.
Thank you. So I have some event.
Turn on the mic, please.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So I have some event I attend from last 2 weeks. So the first thing is Sunday on a festival hosted by Kerala Hindu Societies, Melbourne, in Springvale Town Hall. The other one is the day is 22nd August, Afghanistan Independence Day with Sophia Mayor, Deputy Mayor, hosted by Afghanistan Young Societies of Australia. And the early new day there, we just get ready for take the photo or some councillor in the new logo in the Harmony Square. It's really lovely for the morning day. So I have the question for the in Springvale. So a lot of people to asking me do the new project for the drop off and pick up bay for in front of the Springvale Shopping Centre. Because they really hard for they take the shopping with the elderly, so they parking and they walking so far, and then when they get back the car, is so the long walk. It's not suitable for them to carry too many things when after shopping there. So that's why they asking me for do something research for where it look like the airport, drop up and pick up for shopping.
Mr. Manivasagasavan.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, I'm happy to refer that to our transport team to have a look at that. and depending on the traffic volumes and all of that, they can come up with some solutions, but I'll refer that to them to investigate. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasan. Councillor there. Thank you. Councillors, I'm looking forward to the formal opening of the new Keysborough Community Hub on Saturday the 5th of September. However, I understand that it has had a soft launch while I was away, and that's been a raging success. I hear young people have been shooting hoops and enjoying the play space outside and the study space inside. I'm told thousands of library items have been borrowed in the first couple of weeks, keeping our library staff busy, bringing items from Dandenong and Springvale to keep the shelves topped up. We've heard lovely feedback from early visitors. Apparently 340 people visited in just 4 hours yesterday. It's a beautiful facility on Villas Road in Keysborough. The opening hours are on our website, and I encourage people to go down and check it out if you haven't already visited. So keep in mind, the official opening will be on Saturday, the 5th of September. I'd also like to share that in the National Premier League, we've had Dandenong City finish 6th on the ladder and Dandenong Thunder finish 3rd. For the first time in the history of NPL in Victoria, we'll have 2 Dandenong teams playing in the elimination final this Saturday. I've been told expectations of probably 4,000 to 5,000 people. So it's a great outcome for all the football lovers in the greater Dandenong region. So good luck and go Dandy. Ms Weatherall, you've got some questions taken at the last council meeting.
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor. There you go.
Thank you very much. Item 7, urgent business. No urgent business. Item 8, close of business. I declare the meeting closed at 7:56 p.m. Thank you and have a good evening.